Hey, so I am here to share with you an amazing recipe. It is called pasta with vegetables. Now, don't be confused by the name. You can add chicken or shrimp or use this as a side dish, maybe with beef or another recipe, but this is an incredible one for you to try. So this recipe is part of our TasteBuds collection. And TasteBuds is a subscription program that Pampered Chef started back in October, where each month, for the months that you are a subscriber, you're going to receive 3 recipes and 3 seasonings. You're going to receive a resource guide on a little index card so you can actually kind of box them up together. And then you're also going to have exclusive access to an area of my website with additional resources. So what does this all mean though? TasteBuds is meant to give you solutions for mealtime. Simple solutions packed full of flavor. Each of the recipes can be done owning no Pampered Chef products at all, although we hope you do. So let me give you an example. This was a recipe that came as part of our January theme, and it is steak and cauliflower skillet with a seasoning packet of our crushed peppercorn and garlic. The peppercorn and garlic seasoning packet, there's a ton of seasoning in here, so you actually get enough seasoning to make multiple recipes, whether it's the same recipe or you're going to use the seasoning in other recipes. All the directions are right on the back of the card, including all the nutritional value information. So you get 3 of those every month. The more months you subscribe to, the less expensive the subscription is. But the number one thing is the subscription is easy to cancel. And that was key when we came out with the subscription program. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our pasta and vegetables recipe. And to get started, I actually have water boiling over here for my pasta. And I'm actually going to use a little less pasta than the recipe calls for. I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. And I'll come back to that in a minute. I've got my oil heating in my skillet. I'll turn that down a little bit because I'm not quite ready to put my food in there. But we're going to go ahead and I'm going to focus on finishing prepping our carrots, which I've gone ahead and started already. So over here we have one of our flexible cutting mats. And on it, I have our spiral and slice. Now this is a key product to watch because if you like this, this is actually being retired at the end of February or when it sells out. So this will spiralize things if you take out the center piece, this piece in the middle here, or right now we just need to slice it. So that's what we're gonna be doing. So I already started some of the carrots and you can tell just how paper thin those slices are. So you don't have to sit here and cut each carrot. So I'm just gonna rest it right on the mat and just turn, and it's slicing all my carrots. You can do all different sorts of veggies in here. You could do chocolate in here if you were doing large amounts of chocolate, ginger root. It's got these nice little thumbprints, so each time I turn, I'm just grabbing onto another one of those thumbprints, okay? So now be careful down here because these blades are super sharp, so I'm not really gonna mess with that right now. We're gonna let that be. So I'm gonna put that off to the side. So now I'm ready to go ahead and start sauteing my carrots, which is the first step in the recipe. I could sit here and grab it all and transfer it to the pan. I could get a spatula, but that's the cool thing about this flexible cutting mat that you have right here. So when we say flexible, it literally curls, okay? And it's got a grip at the bottom, so it doesn't slide all over your countertop either. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna move those in there. We had a couple leftovers that didn't wanna leave our flexible cutting mat. Turn that back up now that we're ready to go. All right, and those are gonna start sauteing, and I'm every now and then gonna go back over and stir it. Come back over and stir our pasta, which again, I'm putting less of than the recipe calls for because I'm actually going to spiralize zucchini to put in here. So I'm gonna make zoodles. Now I'm using 2 of our silicone and wood tools. These come in a set of 3, and these are great for community involvement because when you purchase a set of these 3 tools, you actually put 10 meals on the table of people with need. So the next thing that is gonna need to go in here is gonna be some sliced tomatoes. So I'm gonna go ahead and slice those up, but I don't wanna sit here and take each tomato and slice them in half because that is gonna take forever. So on the flexible cutting mat that we're using, which I don't know if you notice, each mat, they come in a set of 3, and the larger size has resources. This one happens to tell you the different uses for different types of knives. So I'm gonna take our close and cut, and I had rinsed and drained our tomatoes, which this is our easy read measuring colander. I drew a blank on it for a minute. So I actually have a few more tomatoes than the recipe calls for, but I like the extra tomatoes in the recipe. So this is nice because you've got your measure marks going up the side, but you've got lines so you can rinse and drain what you're measuring as well, which is awesome. So you do want to just let anybody in the house know, because that is kind of a new concept for most homes, how this works, so that they don't try and measure, say, milk in there. That would be a disaster. So I'm going to go ahead and take about half of our tomatoes and put them right on to our closing cut. So you can see that there's a spring action to the closing cut. So I'm going to close it and I'm going to cut all of my tomatoes in half all at once. Now you can do this with tomatoes, you can do this with mozzarella, with grapes. All right, those are some of your smaller things you can do it with. You can do this with chicken breasts, especially really large chicken breasts. And that way you can cut them in half and get a much more even cook out of them. I'm just putting all my tools right in the kitchen sink for easy cleaning. Okay, and again, they're all cut in half. How easy was that? So I don't know if they're all going to fit in my measuring cup right here. This is part of our silicone prep bowl set. This is the 1 cup from the set. We have a couple that aren't going to fit. I'm just going to leave them right on the mat there. Now the closing cut is dishwasher safe. So if you are using it for chicken breasts and you want a really nice high heated rinse on it, then you can get that by putting it in the dishwasher, because it is dishwasher safe. Now over here, while those are sauteing, let me tell you a little bit about what we're cooking in. That is the 12-inch of the stainless steel cookware set. This is our 10-inch right here. Now notice that I called it stainless steel, but yet look at the interior. The interior is a black mesh. And the reason for that is it creates a non-stick surface, yet it maintains all the qualities of stainless steel cooking. So if you want to sear your food or high heat cooking, things like that, I don't find I need to high heat cook in these because it's so even. So very rare that you're going to need to, but you can get that sear, you can use a fond, anything you want because of that. These are oven safe. Handles will stay cool on the stovetop because of this V shape at the handle, but obviously they will get hot in the stove. They each come with a clear glass view lid. Now hosts this month have the option of choosing one of the 3, the 10-inch, the 12-inch, or the wok at 60% off, or they have the exclusive ability to get all 3 of them at 60% off. So that's pretty cool. So if you really want this set of 3 or even just one of them, just know even though today is the 28th, there is still time to host a party. We've done 24-hour express parties. We have lots of different options. So you can book a party and you'll be good to go. All right, so let me go ahead and just stir that one more time. Now, depending on when you're watching this video, because although I am live streaming it right now into a party, I oftentimes save my videos and I upload them to my YouTube page and I reuse them again. So just know that some of this may be time sensitive information, such as the special on the stainless steel cookware. So I am referring to January 2021 in case somebody's watching this down the road. All right, so let me check and see what ingredient is going to go in next. So we've done that. Now we're going to add the tomatoes, the peas, and the green onions. So we have our tomatoes all cut. Oop, get that one. My counter is clean. All of it, I promise. So we've got our tomatoes. I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of them in there. Next, we have 1 cup of peas. Peas, please. We don't want to leave that lonely pea out of there. And then we've got our green onions. Nice and thinly sliced. So we're going to go ahead and let me bring you a little bit closer so that hopefully you can see a little bit better. Bear with me as I maneuver the long arm of my camera holder. Sorry about that. I hope I didn't make anybody dizzy there. Okay, so I just wanted to give you a closer view. So I'm going to go ahead and give that a little stir. I'm going to turn our heat up a tiny bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and stir our pasta a little bit more. Keep any of it from sticking together. Love the pasta fork on the end of that utensil right there. All right, so this has got to saute now for a couple minutes. So while it does, let me tell you about a couple things. So I talked to you about the silicone pretzels. And in this itty bitty one, you'll see little pieces, the ends of the onions, the ends of the carrots. So what I do is I take all my extra pieces and I freeze those. I put them in a gallon size freezer bag. And once that freezer bag is full, sometime if I'm gonna make a lot, I might do 2 freezer bags. Once that bag or bags is full, I'm gonna put it in a large stock pot. I'm gonna cover it almost to the top, not over the top, almost to the top with water, bring it to a boil, and let it simmer for 20 minutes. What I'm basically doing is making homemade vegetable broth. It's so simple, and then you don't feel like you're wasting anything because you're using your veggie pieces. It could be the leaves to the celery, which carry a lot of nutrients, to the ends of the zucchini, like you're gonna see when we make the zoodles in just a minute. You can put anything in there. I put the ends that I cut off the Brussels sprouts in there. So any ingredients you wanna include, throw them together, make your own vegetable broth. It's gonna be perfect. So I had the onions that were cut up, looks like I forgot one, in our 1 cup prep bowl. And these are great because they have the measurements etched on the side. They do come with lids, so they're great for storage, and they stack very nicely. These make really nice gift bowls too, if you wanted to put candy in there or a seasoning with a little dip mix recipe, put a little bow around it, and you could give these as a gift, okay? So let's move these items out of the way. Now our measuring cups. So I took out the bottom one, but say for instance I took one out from the middle. The cool thing with the measuring cups and the measuring spoons are the same way. They stack together, so they clipped in right there. So even if you take one out of the middle, they're going to stay clasped together. So I'm going to put those back together, and those will go right back up into the cabinet. So let me give that a little bit of a stir. I'm watching our time here. This is by far one of my favorite TasteBuds recipe. The recipe card I was showing you earlier, that one is a steak and cauliflower skillet and uses a crushed peppercorn and garlic rub. That was a very simple recipe and packed with flavor. It was awesome. All right, so when our 2 minutes is up, let's see what we're going to do next. It looks like we're gonna add in a tablespoon of white wine. So I have a little bit more time, but I wanna tell you about the measuring spoons. Hopefully you can see these right here. So this is the 1 tablespoon, and you'll notice that it's sitting flat, it's not tipping over. If I was pre-measuring and setting things up, I'd actually do my dry ingredients, I'd pre-measure them and let them just sit on the counter. And this is gonna be one of the tips that's gonna help you in preparing recipes and feeling like you can cook with limited time. Prep your ingredients ahead of time. You saw how I had the onions already sliced, the peas were already measured, I had already started the carrots, and what you can't see is I have all the other ingredients pretty much pre-measured and ready to go, which just makes it that much faster and that much easier to bring a meal to the table. All right, so I think we are just about ready to go ahead and add the white wine. All right, and I'm just gonna go ahead and turn that off and just let it sit in the hot water while we're waiting. Now the other thing real quick is I am using everything gluten-free. So gluten-free pasta, and we're also using gluten-free breadcrumbs. We are almost 100% gluten-free in this house. It's more our adult children, but we eat a lot of their gluten-free food just to make life easier, and it tastes good. So we found good gluten-free pasta, and I think I already packed away the breadcrumbs, but they're from Ian's, that's the brand. So putting just over a tablespoon of white wine in there. And we're gonna let that simmer for about 30 seconds in there. Let the flavor absorb into our veggies. Okay, so we've got that. And then our next step is gonna be our heavy whipping cream, our vegetable broth, and our seasoned salt. So I've got our heavy whipping cream pre-measured, and that's in one of our easy read measuring cups. These come in a set of 4. So you get a 1/4 cup, a 1 cup, a 2 cup, and a 4 cup. These are actually microwave safe if you just need to heat your liquids a little bit. you wouldn't be doing like a 4, 5, 6 minute cooking on high, but you could go ahead and melt butter, you could heat up some liquid in these and they'd be perfectly safe, and they're also dishwasher safe. The neat thing is when you pour your measure in, it goes up at an angle, so you don't have to do what I call your kitchen calisthenics, where you're doing your squats in the kitchen to check out your measurement. So I'm gonna go ahead and pour that in there. Now, you know what? I want more of that cream that's on the side of the measuring cup. So this is part of my homemade veggie broth that I made, and I put it in one of our freezer bowls and I froze it. Obviously I've defrosted it, and I used some of it last night, but we've just enough to use. And what that's gonna do is I just kind of pour it right along the sides, so I get a little bit of a closer measure of that heavy whipping cream, because now it's cleaning it up off the sides of the cup. So it's taking a lot of that with it. Okay, so just drop those in the sink. I love cooking with a clean kitchen. Enjoy my food so much more that way. All right. So now we need to add some of our seasoning. And for this one, we are using the Pampered Chef seasoning salt. Okay, absolutely amazing flavor in the seasoning salt. It is not too powerful. I put this over French fries. I've been putting this over vegetables. It's really, really good. And apparently I have to check, this might be my last bottle. So I need to order more. So we've got 2 teaspoons of the Pampered Chef seasoning salt. Our seasonings are gluten-free. We do have one currently in the line that is not dairy-free, and we have another one coming out that's not dairy-free. So they all are gluten-free, but definitely check either the website or the catalog to see what other ingredients are in there. Or if you do have allergy issues, diabetes, where you need to see different things as far as the carb content and so forth, whether it be this or any other recipe, please reach out to me. I'm very sensitive to stuff like that because we are an allergy household. So I will definitely go over that information with you. All right, so this is gonna have to simmer for a few minutes, I believe. Yes, it is. So while it's doing that, we're gonna look at the spiralizer, which is right here, okay? So this is how your spiralizer is generally stored. You've got your blade guard right here, and it guards 2 different blades. There's a blade recessed into the unit, and that one is your ribbon blade. So it's gonna give you that curly ribbon effect. Then you also have this one that on this side is your spaghetti thickness. This side is your fettuccine thickness. So we do want, I personally want to use the fettuccine thickness for this, but you know what? If I just put it in like this, back here in the insert, it can go up at an angle. I don't know if you can see that. And that's not going to be good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to backtrack. I'm going to put our blade guard down, snap that into place. Then I'm going to insert the blade into the unit and go ahead and tighten it right here on the side. Make sure it's in there real good. Okay, take this off, and now it's in the way it's supposed to be, I believe. Hold on, let me double check. Yes, all right, wanted to make sure. So you've got circles on here. These circles are meant to help you with where to place your food in the unit. So I'm gonna go ahead and slice off the ends of our zucchini. Now if I was chopping and dicing, I would very likely just go ahead, sorry for that bouncing a little bit, my camera's sliding. I would go ahead and dice up like all around the ends. This is really sliding off. I'm gonna have to adjust that in a minute. But I'm just gonna take these and I'm gonna add it over to my container for a future set of veggies. So give me 1 second, because I don't know why, but my little clamp is not clamping correctly. All right, I think we're okay. I'm not quite sure. I feel like there's like a ghost adjusting it here. I've never have this happen. It's usually pretty good. Okay, so hopefully you can see that all right. So I'm occasionally going to give our veggies a stir. We're just thickening and reducing that heavy cream with the veggie broth and the seasoning and bringing all those flavors together. Okay, so while that's going, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this in half and hope that it's not too tall. And now you've got the narrower diameter and the wider diameter. I want the wider diameter to be at the top. And the reason being is in this piece right here that's pushing into the zucchini, that actually has spokes in it, and I want as many spokes as possible in my zucchini. just to guide it and keep it in place. So the zucchini is going to come out right here. So I'm just going to keep turning, and out comes the zoodles. Look how easy that is. Now here's the truth. You can buy these at the store, yes. But you know what? Anything that's done ahead of time, there's got to be some sort of natural or artificial preservatives to keep it. So that is all there is to spiralizing. Now, your spiralizer is not going to bring the food all the way down to the end. You're always going to have a piece left because of the spokes that are on there to guide it. So you can either eat this, dice it and put it in another recipe, or put it in towards your veggie broth. Now, something like a zucchini that has a high water content to it is going to have some, I call my fancy word, smushy pieces at the end. So you do want to kind of get some of those out before you put in the next piece. Now, if you're doing something thicker, tougher, like maybe a rutabaga, something like that, you're going to have to put a lot more pressure. You might actually have to push down on the top to make it spin and go around in the beginning. I never used to eat beets, but I spiralize beets now. I'll slice those up or clip them up a little bit, and I'll put them in salad. So good. You don't even need a salad dressing when you put the beets on top instead. I was very, very intimidated by the spiralizer when it first came out, but now I absolutely love it. All right, so I got all my zoodles there. I'll put this aside. I'm not going to put it away because I'm actually, when we're all done here, we're going to spiralize up a couple more because I have some other recipes that those can go in. All right, so we are pretty close to done here. So before we add in our zoodles and our noodles, I am going to take some of our pea protein from our enrichables. Because you know what, even though this has a fairly good protein content due to the veggies and stuff that are in there, I want a little bit more. And I know I have peas right in the recipe. It's like I am almost ready for a new bag. But what this does is the enrichables does just what the name calls it. It enriches the food that you're already making. It is not a meal replacer. It's not a meal replacer. It is not a meal supplement. And I apologize that I'm having little tech issues there with my phone stabilizing. It's enriching what you already have. Now we have the pea protein, if you need a little extra pack of protein to your food. We also have a kaolin fiber. Now the pea protein and the kaolin fiber will not change the taste of your food. However, the kaolin fiber will change the color of your food, okay? Not the pea protein, but the kaolin fiber will. So this calls with some lemon zest. So I'm going to go ahead and zest our lemon right over the top of it with our microplane zester. Now remember, when you're zesting, in case you didn't know this, you just want to keep turning your citrus because you don't want to go past that light yellow tint and hit the white. That's not really going to give you the pack of flavor that you want from zesting. And then if you ever need a certain amount of zest or even an amount of juice, your firmer lemons are going to provide better zest. Your softer lemons are going to provide better juice. So there's just a little tip for you. So we're going to mix that in there. And then I'm going to add my zoodles, which technically I should have cut first. I should have taken the knife and just gone straight through them first because they are super large. But hey, little tip with the stainless steel skillet, you can actually use metal products in it and it's not going to damage it. So I'm going to give those noodles a quick cut through. Otherwise, I'm going to have like super, look at that, super long zoodles if I don't give them a quick little cut. I keep seeming to cut the nylon spatula, but look at that, no cut marks. Well, there's a little plus to the nylon spatula. All right, so I've got my zoodles in there, and quite honestly, you could just do zoodles. So if you're doing any type of special diet and you can't have the carbs of pasta, you could really just do zoodles with this recipe. All right, I'm just going to drain the pasta this way by letting it drain out and put it right in. Like I said, I did not use close to the amount of pasta that the recipe called for because I wanted to reduce the amount of carbs I was using. I know that sounds crazy to some. I'm an Italian. That really sounds crazy to me. We actually just made my grandfather's sauce recipe. So I'm just going to let those flavors absorb in. I'm going to bring the phone over so that you can get a closer look at how amazing this is. And there's one last step that we need to add. Oop. Get a paper towel to put those on. All right, so we have one last step that I need a little spoon for. So this is our, I think I have our 3-cup here. Yep, this is our 3-cup prep bowl. And in here I have gluten-free breadcrumbs. I have freshly grated Parmesan cheese. Remember, try whenever you can to grate your own cheese, whether it's a hard cheese or a soft cheese. It's so much healthier for you. So I'm mixing that up with a little bit more of the seasoned salt. And then we're just going to add this right on top. In fact, I can turn the heat off there. So I'm going to add most of it on. I'm not going to lie, I didn't measure. I don't know the last time I measured cheese when I grated it. So I'm going to put most on and then save a little bit maybe to put right on it when it's on a plate. But check how pretty this looks. Hold on, let me grab the phone. Let me go ahead and turn that around. I just realized my cabinet was open. Sorry about that. And look at that. How beautiful is that? It's still bubbling because I haven't taken it off the burner yet. But beautiful, beautiful recipe. Packed with flavor. So I hope you enjoyed that. Please let me know if you have any questions about any of the products I shared or about the TasteBuds program. I was not a believer when they first came out with it, but I am sold on this subscription program. The recipes, the tips, the additional resources are well worth it, especially if you do a longer term subscription. You have the choice of 1 month, 3 months, or 6 months. Everybody have a great day.